Welcome to my channel Reality World. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Nick hides things from Sharon, Victor lies to Jack, and Noah finds out something. Last week on The Young and the Restless, Jack made Victor a surprising offer while Matt was in detention. Nick had a setback in the hospital. And last, Phyllis told Kane to embrace his dark side now that Lily was out of town. Fans of the soap drama have a lot to look forward to, from shocking actions and fights to secrets and protection. This is what fans can look forward to on The Young and the Restless next week when they tune in to CBS to see the hit daytime drama set in Genoa City. Genoa City is always full of high-stakes drama, and the week ahead promises more of the dramatic power plays, secrets, and moral issues that keep people watching. Victor and Jack are at war over pride and power. Nick is trying to keep everything under control around Matt, and younger characters like Noah are finding clues that might change everything. This is a week when alliances will be challenged, and choices will have actual effects. Below, Reality World talks about the most important scenes, what each character wants, and what these events could imply for Newman, Abbott, and the rest of the ensemble. Victor and Jack. Pride, power, and a betrayal. Victor Newman has never been the type of person to let a perceived slight slide, and when he decides to betray Jack Abbott, the effects will be felt throughout Newman Enterprises and the Abbott legacy. The double-cross isn't just a business move, it's a strategic power move aimed to win and make the other person seem bad. Jack, who has always worn his pride like armor, will be driven into a position where his reactions will show if he is still the same Abbott who created his empire by hard work and cunning, or whether his recent compromises have made him vulnerable. There's a classic soap opera combination in this story: corporate chess, personal grudges, and public spectacle. Diane will probably get caught in the crossfire. Her loyalty tests for Jack may be as much about saving her marriage as they are about keeping her job. When Victor tells Jack to leave the Newman property while Matt is still in jail, it says a lot. Victor wants to control not only the outcomes but also the story. He wants to decide who is the aggressor and who is the pawn. Nick's desperation. Secrets, hospital beds, and deals behind closed doors. Nick Newman's story this week is all on one main question: how far would he go to keep the people he loves safe? Nick is not the type of guy who just sits back after a setback at the hospital. Even if physicians tell him to rest, his impulse to fix, protect, and get back at people will make him make dangerous choices. Nick is willing to make deals in secret, even if it means keeping Sharon in the dark. This shows how desperate he is and how he thinks strategically. Why not tell Sharon? This is a classic example of how soap operas employ secrecy to test relationships. Sharon is not only Nick's girlfriend, but she also helps him make moral decisions. Nick, disguising what he's doing, says he's making a moral choice between Matt's safety or punishment and his partner's trust. The conflict will come from whether his choices are based on righteous fury or a darker desire to be the judge, jury, and executioner. The Matt problem: punish or keep him safe. Matt Clark has been a pain in the neck for a lot of people, and his violent and manipulative behavior makes him very dangerous. Nick's trip to see Jack is as much about planning as it is about ending things. Does Nick want Matt to be locked up, or does he desire a more permanent solution that doesn't involve the law? Fans have been trained to expect big fight scenes where the lines between right and wrong are blurry. It's intriguing that Nick might choose the legal route after learning some painful lessons from past mistakes, including the car crash fiasco. But that doesn't ensure the road will be straight. The best thing that could happen is if Jack can be talked into giving Matt to the cops. But soaps don't usually provide people their best case without problems. Matt's ability to surprise, escape, influence, or negotiate a deal with other players keeps the stakes purposely low. Expect secret discussions that are uncomfortable, maybe a deal that isn't right, and the kind of tension that makes daytime TV so compelling. Noah's discovery, the big moment for the younger generation. One of the most important things that happened this week might be Noah's discovery concerning Matt Clark. Young characters finding proof or important facts often make older people feel shocked and confused. Noah's finding could serve many purposes in the story. It could be a new piece of evidence that makes Matt look bad, a clue that helps a legal case, or a reveal that puts Noah in danger right away. This subplot also lets the show present Noah as more than just a background character. He becomes an active character whose actions matter. The emotional core of his reaction, and the way he chose to use what he finds will determine the direction of the Matt story and show how brave or foolish he is. The phrase, "kids discover something we adults missed," makes the tension both relatable and scary for parents who are watching. Phyllis and Cain, the dark side and temptation. Phyllis is typically the one who pushes other characters to take risks, like when she recently told Cain to visit his dark side. This makes for some interesting interactions. Phyllis can use the fact that Lily is out of town to push Cain into making choices that could have long-term effects. Will Cain act recklessly once because Phyllis pushed him, or will he start a habit of action that makes his relationships and morals more complicated? This isn't really about business agreements. It's more about personal ethics. Cain's choices could take him away from the solid life he's been establishing. Phyllis's reasons for doing things, whether they are selfish, protective, or something else, will show how far she's willing to go to get what she wants. Expect fights that are full of emotion, and maybe even a point where Cain has to choose between his identity and his impulses. Nikki's fight. Family ties and secret enemies. Nikki facing out against a rival offers that typical Y&R blend of familial loyalty and public scandal. Nikki has always been the focus of the Newmans' hearts. Her decisions affect both the family business and the family social circles. Who she talks to and why will tell you a lot about where her loyalty lay and whose connections are weak. Is it someone from Victor's life, a fresh enemy, or someone who has had a vendetta against him for a long time? No matter what, a fight with Nikki is certain to be both emotional and explosive, and it will have long-term effects on family unity. Victoria, Adam, and damage control. Victoria and Adam trying to fix things at Newman is one of those behind-the-scenes scenarios that has a lot going on below. To deal with the fallout from the company, they may use public relations, legal tactics, and internal politics. Damage control typically reveals cracks. Friendships change, old wounds reopen, and goals come back to the surface. You can tell if the Newman family can stay together in a crisis by watching how Victoria and Adam split up work or argue over what to do. Diane's ultimatum. Loyalty when things get tough. Diane giving Jack an ultimatum creates another moral choice. Ultimatums are a plot technique that makes characters pick who they are most loyal to, their spouse, family, or themselves. Diane's demand might be about whether Jack stands up for Nikki no matter what she does to Victor, or whether he finally puts his family's image above all else. How Jack reacts will determine the direction of his story. He could choose to protect Nikki even more, break up with his wife, or try to reach a risky compromise. Sally and Billy. Confessions and the effects on the industry. Sally may be making Billy tell the truth about mistakes he made at work, personal betrayals, or both. If Billy's plans put Abbott Communications or his personal connections at risk, his revelation might rescue him legally but break trust. Sally's drive for the truth shows that she has grown morally. She doesn't want to be vague anymore and wants to be held accountable. This subplot might show how the industry is tense and how it affects people personally, especially if Billy's actions had bigger effects on workers and reputations. What this week means for Genoa City. This week on The Young and the Restless is all about making decisions and drawing lines. Nick's secret, Victor's manipulative advantage, Noah's breakthrough, and Cain's temptations all point to a rise in tension as each character's core principles are put to the test. Will the Newmans and Abbotts be able to get along, or will the fight turn into something that can't be fixed? The minor moments will be just as important as the big ones for viewers. For example, Sharon finding out that Nick isn't in his hospital bed, Noah's face when he realizes what he's found, Diane's tough ultimatum, and the tense private encounter between Nick and Jack. These personal moments are what makes soap operas interesting. They make you care about the outcome beyond the headlines. Last thoughts and predictions. What does reality world think? Expect short-term truces that are more about strategy than honesty. Victor's double-cross is a message, not a step toward making things right. Nick's hidden contacts with Jack imply that he is willing to compromise his morals, which will make things harder for him and Sharon. It's a bet whether it will make things safer or break trust. Noah's finding could be the key to bringing Matt down, but it could also make Noah a target. And with Phyllis whispering in Cain's ear, get ready for a personal narrative that could affect many relationships. The next week will be a lesson in soap opera intensity, with planned betrayals, moral dilemmas, and discoveries that could change everything. If you're keeping up with the Newman-Abbott story, pay attention to how the alliances change. In Genoa City, today's friend is often tomorrow's enemy. The Abbotts take charge while Jack plays hardball. Next week picks up where the tension left off. Jack Abbott and Kyle Abbott show up at Victor Newman's ranch with a shocking claim. They have Matt Clark in jail. For Jack, this isn't just about getting back at someone or his own pride. It's about staying alive. Jack decides it's time to quit being polite when Victor uses a hazardous AI system to attack Jabot. Kyle's sharp-edged assurance only makes things worse when he tells how the Abbotts found Matt by keeping an eye on the Newmans themselves. That news alone shakes Adam Newman, who immediately wonders how far Jack will go. When Jack says in a chilly voice that he's ready to let Matt go if Victor doesn't give him the AI, the mood in the room changes. This isn't the Jack Abbott that most people remember as the moral high ground guy who always strived to be better than Victor. This is a man who has reached his breaking point and is ready to fight fire with fire to protect his family and workers. Adam is shocked, but people who have watched Jack for a long time know he can be cruel when he has to be. Victor Newman doesn't trust anyone, and it costs him. As expected, Victor won't let himself be trapped. He says he doesn't need Jack's support to deal with Matt, even if his own family is still paying the price. Nick is in the hospital, Noah has already been attacked, and the threat is no longer just a thought. Nikki Newman becomes the voice of reason, begging Victor to take the bargain and end the horror. She is really scared for her kids, but Victor's pride gets in the way again. He doesn't think Jack will really destroy the AI, so he won't give up control. Jack has Matt taken into the room to show that he's serious. Matt is alive, angry, and undeniable proof that the Abbotts control all the cards. "Do we have a deal?" is Jack's last inquiry, and it puts Victor in a tough spot. Viewers are left hanging on a cliffhanger that promises major consequences. Kane and Phyllis make a risky power move. While Victor and Jack are stuck in their standoff, a much more hazardous plan is being made behind the scenes. Phyllis Summers, who never misses a chance, goes after Kane Ashby. Since Lily is away and Kane is feeling alone, Phyllis tempts him with retribution and power. Kane knows something that Victor doesn't. The AI system has a way in. One Kane can control. The startling turn of events happens when Kane finally resolves to quit being the victim. Kane gives in to his darker tendencies after losing Lily and being emotionally cut off from his kids. Kane and Phyllis flick the switch, and the AI that Victor planned to utilize against his rivals turns against Newman Enterprises itself. This moment is huge. Victor not only lost leverage, he lost control completely. Newman Enterprises falls as Phyllis fights back. Next week, Phyllis and Kane are going to face Victor personally and tell him the terrible news. Newman Enterprises is no longer his. The AI now listens to them, and Victor can't do anything to stop it. Jack and Diane are both relieved and worried about this. Victor can't go after Jabot anymore, but Phyllis and Kane now have the same deadly weapon. Jack may have to make another difficult deal, maybe even giving Marchetti up to keep his family from being the next target. It seems like Victor's collapse is going to happen, and to be honest, it's been a long time coming. Nikki, Michael, Adam, Victoria, and Claire all told him to be careful. He may finally lose everything he built because he won't listen. Sharon was horrified by Tessa's terrible confession. While corporate fights continue, a very personal narrative line causes a lot of pain. When Tessa Porter tells Sharon Newman that she can't go on and is going to divorce Mariah, Sharon is shocked. Sharon is shocked and heartbroken by what she hears. She knows Mariah has been having a hard time, but the thought of her marriage falling apart is nearly too much to handle. It's clear that Tessa is hurting. Mariah walked away and won't talk to either Tessa or their daughter Aria. Sharon is trying to deal with the news, but an even worse thought comes to mind. Is there someone else? Daniel Romalotti makes things harder. Sharon can get hurt again if she finds out that Tessa has gotten close to Daniel Romalotti. Sharon originally blamed Daniel for Cassie's death, and that anger stayed with her for years. Daniel was never really to blame, but the emotional scars are still there. As a mother, a grandmother, and a lady who is tormented by the past, the thought of him being with Tessa would hit Sharon on many levels. This narrative isn't about treachery, it's about being left behind, surviving, and the harsh truth of moving on when someone you love won't come back. Reality World watchers, don't miss this week. It's going to be one you won't want to miss. If you like this breakdown, click the subscribe button and follow Reality